Just moments ago, Canada made a move that sent shockwaves through Washington. But it wasn't a tariff or a sanction. It was a handshake. After an 8-year diplomatic freeze, Prime Minister Mark Carney traveled to Beijing and walked away with a new preliminary trade agreement. In response, President Trump has threatened a very substantial response, including the possibility of 100% tariffs on Canadian goods. Washington is on high alert, the global economy is watching, and the U.S.-Canada relationship is facing a pivotal moment. Here's what you need to know. So, what's the big deal? This isn't just about a few products, it's about a fundamental strategic shift. For decades, Canada has been one of America's most reliable economic partners. Now, under Prime Minister Mark Carney, Canada is actively looking to reduce its economic dependence on the United States. The new preliminary deal with China is the first major step. In exchange for Canada lowering tariffs on a set number of Chinese electric vehicles, China will dramatically slash its own tariffs on key Canadian exports like canola and remove punishing tariffs on products like seafood and peas. It's a move designed to give Canadian industries an escape route from the pressures of the North American market. But Washington sees this differently. President Trump has reacted with threats of massive tariffs, accusing Canada of making itself a drop-off port for China. The concern is that this isn't just a one-off deal. It's the beginning of a major realignment that could weaken U.S. leverage and reshape the continent's economy for years to come. How did we get here? This didn't happen overnight. It's been building. In 2024, Canada followed the U.S.'s lead by imposing heavy tariffs on Chinese EVs and metals. But since taking office, Prime Minister Mark Carney has signaled a major change in direction, declaring the old rules-based order is over and that Canada needs to build new partnerships. His trip to Beijing in January 2026 was the first by a Canadian Prime Minister since 2017, officially ending a long diplomatic chill. The result was a new strategic partnership focused on everything from energy and clean tech to agri-food. This is Ottawa's strategy of self-preservation in action. Facing an unpredictable U.S. trade policy, Canada is hedging its bets and building new alliances. Carney has been clear, stating he intends to pursue a dozen new deals across 4 continents to diversify Canada's trade, a message he delivered directly to President Trump. The deal that pushed this situation to a boiling point is surprisingly specific. In exchange for significant tariff relief for its agricultural and seafood sectors, Canada agreed to lower its 100% tariff on Chinese-made electric vehicles down to 6.1% for a quota of 49,000 cars per year. For Canadian canola farmers who face tariffs as high as 84%, this is a massive win. But Washington didn't celebrate. The announcement was met with immediate fury. President Trump declared that if Canada proceeds with its China deal, the U.S. will hit back hard, floating a 100% tariff on all Canadian goods. The message was unmistakable. You're either with us or you're with them. Carney has since clarified that this is not a full free trade agreement, which would risk violating the USMCA, but a more limited deal to fix recent trade problems. The reaction from the U.S. wasn't just presidential. GM CEO Mary Barra called the move a slippery slope that could undermine the entire North American auto industry, a sector built on deeply integrated cross-border supply chains. While the initial number of EVs is small, less than 3% of Canada's market, the fear is that this gives Chinese manufacturing a strategic foothold on the continent. This is the new reality of the North American landscape, where the old rules are being rewritten in real time. If you want to stay ahead of the curve and understand what these shifts mean for you, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss our next update on this developing story. So, why is Washington reeling? It's because Canada's pivot isn't just a defensive reaction, it's an offensive strategic play. For the first time in a long time, Canada is proactively building an economic future that is less dependent on its southern neighbor. This fundamentally changes the balance of power. The U.S. can still threaten punishment, but it can no longer be certain that punishment will force Canada to fall in line. This all casts a massive shadow over the mandatory review of the USMCA agreement, scheduled for 2026. That date, once seen as a routine checkup, now looks more like a potential cliffhanger. President Trump has already hinted he might be willing to tear up the pact. With the China deal providing new markets for Canadian goods, Prime Minister Carney is in a much stronger position to resist demands for major concessions. Even though business groups in all three countries expect the USMCA to survive, the tension is undeniable. President Trump's rhetoric is being seen as a tough negotiating tactic ahead of the 2026 review. Prime Minister Carney, for his part, has used the global stage at Davos to frame Canada as a rising middle power, ready to forge its own path in a changing world. This isn't just talk. It's a strategic repositioning with billions of dollars on the line. We are in a new era. The United States and Canada, two allies who built the world's most integrated economic partnership, are now in a tense standoff. The White House has made its threat, betting that the fear of economic pain will force Ottawa to back down from its new strategy with China. But Canada, feeling the need to secure its own economic future, has made a bold move toward a global superpower rival, a move that could permanently alter its destiny. This has gone far beyond a simple trade dispute. It's now a high-stakes geopolitical game where the economic futures of millions of citizens in both nations hang in the balance. The next moves will determine whether North America strengthens its partnership or fractures under the pressure. But what do you think? Is Canada's pivot to China a smart move for economic survival, or is it a risky gamble that will shatter a decades-long alliance? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.